soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. The warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. The whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Do or die, you're a mercenary. One of a kind that you're burning to carry. Go and make them proud, do what's necessary. Oh no, do or die, you're a mercenary. Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you gotta one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Still your heart so much to prove.
If it's Thursday, it's time for Mystic Racing League action. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. And tonight, we're bringing you race number 15 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Coming to you live from one of the most iconic and historic tracks in the world, the Milwaukee Mile. This isn't just a racetrack. It's a time capsule of American motorsport. Originally opened back in 1876 as a horse racing track, it was transformed into an automobile racing venue in 1903, making it the oldest operating motor speedway in the world. That's right, older than Indianapolis, older than Daytona. This place predates Henry Ford's first production car. Over the decades, legends have carved their names into asphalt here. Foyt, Andretti, Wallace, to name a few. The Milwaukee Mile was once a staple on the IndyCar and NASCAR calendars and even hosted the Green Bay Packers in the 1930s and 1940s. When it was paved back in 1954, the era of dirt ended, but a new era of thunderous horsepower and technical mastery began. But don't let its age fool you. This 1 mile oval may look simple on paper, but it's notoriously tough on drivers. The track is flat, just 9.25 degrees of banking in the corners and filled with bumps and worn patches that test every suspension setup possible. The track rewards the patient and it punishes the reckless. And tonight, with championship pressures beginning to mount, there is no room for mistakes. Chris, the Milwaukee Mile has seen it all. Horse races, football games, Indy legends, and now the raw power of these Fall Creek Plumbing cars here in Mystic Racing League. What makes this track such a unique challenge for drivers? And what should fans be looking for tonight as the green flag drops?
Well, Ellis, you said it's 9.25 degrees of banking in the corners here at the Milwaukee Mile, but it does not feel like that at all. It feels like a flat tabletop surface here. Very, very challenging track for stock cars, for any car for that matter. Here at the Milwaukee Mile. 150 laps, 75% fuel, 3 sets of tires in the pits for these drivers, stage breaks at lap 40 and lap 90. Should be an entertaining night of action all night at America's legendary oval.
Lots of legendary stories we're going to be talking about later on, Chris, but before we get to the championship standings, before we get to those stories, it's time for everyone's favorite Slingshot Racing pre-race tradition. Everyone rise and remove your caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. Back here at the legendary Milwaukee Mile, getting ready for 150 laps of Mystic Racing League action for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series Race 15. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith, as well as Johnny Rapp in the booth tonight. Couple things we need to talk about before we get going. The first thing is the standings. Things have heated up at the top a little bit. Evan Janik had a great run last week at Sonoma, but could not get the job done. That allowed Cody Giles to maybe get into the championship contention conversation a little bit more. I know we have playoffs, but he's a name who's coming on strong here in the past couple of weeks. Not even sure if he's going to be here tonight. He's running a limited schedule, but when he's present, he's going to make a difference, Chris. Evan Janik, Adam Holston, Christian Barnes, with Alex Pollock and Caleb Hunt all creeping up into the picture. The good news for these drivers is we have a playoffs at the end of the season. So while we're 15 races in, there's still a lot of time left on the schedule for drivers to make some magic happen. What do you have to do tonight? Is any driver going to be able to maybe get their name out there? Chris Medford, Andrew Show, Brad T. Nelson to lock themselves into the playoff? Are they racing with a you got to win to get in mentality?
Yeah, I think that with, the large amount of point spread between some of these drivers, I think that definitely I think winning is definitely your easiest way to get in. So I think that's probably the mentality they're going to have. I look at Brett Wren right there, 14th in points, not too far out. So his mentality might be a little bit different than some other drivers maybe that are a little bit further back in the standings, Ellis.
And let's talk about some stories to set the race up tonight. We'll be talking about all those drivers you see on the screen and more, but the stories that we're going to be following as we get ready to begin our pace laps here from Milwaukee. Let's talk about line. You're going to see a multitude of strategies tonight. You'll have some drivers kind of entering in at the top, maybe going up the track a little bit and kind of arcing their way back down. And then you'll have drivers who are hugging that yellow line. Chris, I know you're a bottom feeder. You like to be on that bottom line, but talk to the fans a little bit about the difference in lines that they're going to see tonight on this racetrack.
Yeah, you can definitely see some drivers possibly trying to diamond these corners, looking to maybe get a little bit better run on corner exit. Be curious to see which line actually maybe punishes that right front tire a little bit more tonight. That's a key story that we're going to keep our eyes on all night. We're also going to be looking at these drivers, seeing if they shift possibly in these Xfinity cars. Not as likely to shift in these, I would say, as maybe you are in the trucks. But definitely still something that we're going to try to watch all night long tonight.
Why would drivers shift? Just out of curiosity, why would they downshift in the third gear?
Well, as the tires get more and more wear, and the lap times begin to slow down, you possibly want to get that torque on corner exit, possibly be able to get that launch, because the center of the corner speeds are so low, and these straightaways are so long. You have to have the gear to get down these straightaways, Ellis, and so it kind of lends itself to the possibility of being able to shift. So we're going to be listening for that all night tonight.
Also, rear tire management. We talk about this every single week, and some drivers are better at it than others, but tonight it's going to be at an all-time premium and a really vital thing for drivers to show off tonight, their rear tire management. How are they going to save those tires over the course of these 150 laps?
Easy on that throttle, Ellis. Easy on that throttle right in the center of the corner. Don't try to spin those tires on corner exit. You can definitely do that here in Milwaukee because this track just requires patience on that throttle. If you're patient on the throttle, you're possibly going to be around at the end of this thing, at the end of these runs, especially when it comes time for these stage breaks, Ellis.
And as we kind of begin to look at the grid, it's going to be a whole different mentality tonight as we return from some bigger tracks and road courses tonight to a short track. It's not a full short track, but Chris, we talked about that short track mentality, looking at Chris Medford on the pole along with Andrew Shobe on the outside. What are those drivers kind of thinking in their heads tonight? What are they being told by their crew chiefs on the top of the box, starting from the pole up front? How important is it to keep that track position at a short track as we look through the rest of the grid?
Extremely important, Ellis. The bump and run is in play here at Milwaukee. You can definitely, get roughed up from behind, especially on entry of these corners with different types of brake marks. And it is very hard to pass, extremely difficult to pass. So if you have track position, you're going to try to do everything that you can to possibly keep that tonight.
You can do everything you possibly can. You heard it. Johnny, do you think we have a moment to grab a driver for a quick interview? Can we do it?
I think, Ellis, that they're coming to get the one to go right now. It looks
okay.
like
I thought we had added 2 laps. Never mind. We'll grab a couple drivers throughout the race, but it's a lot on the line. We've had a week off. It was a road course, so it's been a couple weeks since we've run an oval. I think these drivers, maybe it might have a little bit of rust to shake off, and I'm curious how quickly we see Calamity break loose on this track. We talked about it being a highly technical track that drivers very well could struggle with, especially as a run goes on. Looking through the back of the pack, what are the strategies if you're starting back in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, Chris? How quickly are you hoping to make your way up through the field?
Well, sometimes, Ellis, on the restarts here, because everybody's kind of hunting for the bottom, you can be really aggressive on the outside and maybe clear a couple of guys, like sneak a few spots here on the restart or the initial start of the race in this instance right here. So I think that's going to be some drivers' mentality here on this opening lap.
We're going to see exactly what that mentality is right now. Pace car peels off. We're looking at Chris Medford and Andrew Shobe, and the flagman waves the green flag. We're underway at the Milwaukee Mile, race number 15 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series for Mystic Racing League. It's Janik and Medford side by side. Janik with that outside line carrying some speed through the exit of turn 2. They rock it down to the backstretch for the first time tonight. Brad T. Nelson, the lone car in the middle of that 5-car sandwich for the lead right now. Janik on the outside. Medford still holding his position as they come through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, we saw right there the 46 of Chris Medford up the hill a little bit in turns 3 and 4. Evan Janik gave him the room that he needed to slide up right there. And it looks like Medford is going to clear Janik into turn 1. So put the 46 clearly to the point. Oh, they got
a little bit of contact
right
there between the 46 of Medford and the 71 of Janik. Janik gave a little bit of a tap to Medford. One car way off the pace in the back. That's the 29 of Joshua Thornton. Not sure what caused that driver to have to get out of the throttle there, but he did a heck of a job to hold on to it, and everyone is no worse for the wear. We continue under green flag conditions. Coming to lap number 3 here. Thornton a little bit loose, but gathers it up. Everyone continues on. Looking at the top, it's a battle continuing for the lead between Janik and Medford. Medford in that black and red, number 46. Janik in the black and blue, number 71. They head down into turn 3. Janik doing really good job right now of just kind of stalking the back bumper of Chris Medford. Meanwhile, Brad Nelson and Adam Holston bang fenders a little bit back in the 3rd position. Holston gains that position as he works his way on the outside by Brad Nelson, who had a great starting position tonight in the 3rd position on the inside of row number 2.
Yeah, that's a really good qualifying run for Brad Nelson right here. Looking to the inside of number 2 point man, Adam Holston. Going to try to clear him possibly into turn 3 right here. Look at Holston giving him a lot of room. Not interested in racing him super, super hard. Going to get back in line right here, Ellis. And yeah, right there. Here we got a battle for the lead.
Battle for the lead heats up. It's Medford and Janik side by side as they head down into the corner. It's Janik on the inside, Medford on the outside. Janik was the one who made the move here on lap number 5 of 150. They sail down the backstretch side by side. You can see Medford try to push that 71 down the track. It doesn't work. Janik slides up just a little bit, as is the danger at Milwaukee. The flat track Janik is loose. And Chris, your vocalizations there, I think, are probably similar to what those drivers in the cars were feeling.
Yeah, it's really, really close right there. Janik sliding up again. I can't tell you how hard it is here to run side by side in the corners. You really need every inch of this racetrack, considering just how flat it is. Evan Janik mentioned a couple weeks ago, Ellis, he thought Chris Medford was one of his toughest competitors out here on the track. He recognized the speed that he's had in the races that he has been out here. So not surprised to see these guys battling it out for the lead.
Great battle continues side by side right now. Brad Nelson back in 3rd has a great shot, a great view of this. And Chris, we continue to see the inside car. Janik struggle to hold it down on the bottom, has to lift off that throttle, but we see Medford carry that speed off the corner. Janik just isn't able to match. It looks like Janik's able to send it into the corner a little bit deeper than Medford. Medford washes up there a little bit, opens the door for Janik. Look how that car stuck to the bottom line. That time, Janik Janik had no issues keeping it to that bottom line through turns 3 and 4. Medford looks like he's going to continue to make that challenge on Janik. He slides in.
Ooh,
oh boy, little
contact.
contact for sure there between the 46 and the 71. Janik gets that spot. New P1. Janik back to the front, steals it away from Chris Medford here on lap 8 of 150. Top 5 as they run. Evan Janik first, Chris Medford second, Brad T. Nelson, we talked about him having a good run and only his 4th start this season. He's running 3rd. Adam Holston is 4th. Meanwhile, David Moyer, Chris, one car that we've seen really come on strong over the course of the last several races. David Moyer sitting back in the 5th position in that number 47 Cessna car. This is when we talk about what you want to see from drivers in a league, just continuously grinding it out, getting better and better and better every single race over the season. I mean, if I'm looking at David's stats over the past 5 races, they just continue to go up and up and up and up. And some of his best performances, Chris, have been at short tracks. David Moyer with the 7th place at Martinsville earlier on in the season and finished, again, pretty high up, had a good run going at Rockingham several weeks ago, but best race of the season has been Martinsville. Looking to replicate that short track success tonight is David Moyer in that number 47 with a great run going right now.
Yeah, he definitely has a good run going, and yeah, you can see that success from Martinsville sort of paralleling here to Milwaukee. Sometimes you see a lot of the same drivers who are fast at each one of those tracks. See a little bit of carryover. We do have a battle going on, I think, right now for the 9th position, Ellis.
Yep.
I take that back. That is the 8th position. That is between Caleb Hunt and Jacob Cochran. Jacob Cochran was one of many drivers to receive an EOL penalty at the beginning of this race, but he is making a steady march towards the front right here, taking that 8th spot from Caleb Hunt.
Jacob Cochran slowly working his way through the field, and that number 84 is where Caleb Hunt trying to get that energy going, and that Monster Energy number 78. It's a good-looking paint scheme he's got there, but I like the purple one just a little bit better, the Twitch scheme, as we watch David Moyer doing battle with Douglas Wasaki. Wasaki's had a pretty good season. He gets by David Moyer there as they send their way down the backstretch right now. We've seen Wasaki have some good runs on the road courses this season. Trying to look up stats where he's been the rest of the season. Chris, he had a 7th place finish at Bristol. So this is a driver that in 10th place at Rockingham. So again, we're seeing some of these guys whose short track statistics are some of their highest have good runs so far as of lap 13 of 150. I don't think that's any sort of coincidence as we watch Wasaki roll around and Jacob Cochran slowly closing the gap to 6th position behind him.
Yeah, and I would venture to say, Ellis, that this is probably the best raw speed we've seen out of that 11 machine here, maybe even this season. I mean, he is up there in 6th place right here on merit. Having a great run right here is Douglas Wasaki with that sort of short track styled livery on that number 11.
Yeah, definitely a short track number style, some crumbs. That had a letter on the side as well, right?
Yeah, I think it does.
So good run going for Wasaki. Hey, let's talk about the chat real quick. If you are watching on YouTube, first of all, gracias, thank you very much for tuning in on this Thursday evening. Every little viewer counts. We're glad you are here. We got Connor in the chat. We got Jeffrey Fisher. John Rapp is here as well. Connor Lines in the chat. Sandra Gillen, she's going for the number 10 of Joshua Gillen tonight. Jeffrey Fisher, a loyal viewer as well. Brianna Fondren and Sandra Gillen. Got a lot of family and friends in here tonight. If you're watching, let us know who you are rooting for as we watch Jacob Cochran work his way by Douglas Wasaki in that number 11. Cochran's got a hot rod under him tonight in that Menards number 84. Let us know who you're rooting for. We got Justin Wilson in the chat as well. We're going to be doing a diecast competition, giving away a Todd Gilliland A&W. I know A&W is a big favorite up in the north around Wisconsin parts. We'll be giving away a Todd Gilliland A&W diecast car later on the broadcast. Stick around to find out more about that as we watch Jacob Cochran continue to sail it down into turn number 3. He's kind of left Wasaki in the dust, and he's making hay on Derek Jewett. And Chris, Derek Jewett right in front of Cochran in 5th position. Attaboy, 6 positions gained. Jewett started P11 tonight in that number 45. And boy, this is a car that I would be willing, Chris, to put money on. We'll have a win before this season is over. I think he'll get a win before the playoffs start here in a month and a half or so. That 45 has had the raw speed. He just hasn't been able to put together a complete race yet, but I think we are getting closer and closer for Derek Jewett, Chris.
Yeah, I completely agree. It just seems like something kind of just goes wrong, week in and week out. He shows that speed, he shows that pace, whether it be, just circumstances in the race, untimely cautions, whatever it might be. Something has just kind of gone wrong a lot of times for Derek Jewett, but he definitely has the pace down, which is the hardest thing to get down probably. So just got to have all the circumstances start to go right for him out on the track. I want to direct our attention back to the battle for 8th right here. Alex Pollock is getting some pressure right here from Andrew Shobe in the 69. Shobe is another one of those drivers. He qualified second, but had an EOL penalty to start the race, and he has marched his way up through the field just like Jacob Cochran is, and he's trying to take that 8th spot from the 92 of Pollock. So Shobe, we know he's got speed for qualifying second and marching up through the field like this.
And both of these drivers running that diamond technique we talked about in pre-race, and Shobe works it to perfection there. We got some Shobe fans in the chat talking about how he's already up now to the 8th position. You mentioned that EOL. I believe a handful of drivers did not make the drivers meeting, which pushed them back to that back of the grid with that EOL. That's policy. If you know different, let us know in the chat. Oh, Pollock, as we watch, gets a little bit of the wall off of turn number 2. A couple comments in the chat. Chris Connor Lyons giving us a little bit of history here. You and I, history teachers, we love this. 1939 to 2024, with 205 races ran at this track, not the oldest track. But he's saying Indianapolis is older. No, not based on our information. Not based on our information. He says the oldest track. He says Indy 500 is coming up. By the way, this weekend. If you're going to be watching the Indy 500, let us know what driver you're rooting for in that real life Indy 500. One of these days, I'm going to make it over to that track for the Indy 500 as we watch Chris Medford rolling around right now, second place, trying to see if he can't find a little bit of speed. Evan Janik now just about a car length out in front of Medford. He's closed the distance here, and we see Medford able to get through that center of the corner, Chris, a little bit better. You could see the distance he made up. He's got the spot. He shows his nose down into turn number 3, but they've got one car. I believe that is Steve Gill on the outside, does a heck of a job getting out of the way in the turn 4, and that's going to open the door for Chris Medford here side by side as they head up to the line. Medford draws it up the track a little bit to put a little bit of pressure on Janik. They're going to be coming up on Thornton here in the 29. Lap car is going to be playing a role. Can Janik tuck his nose in and get a better exit? Look at this. He's thinking ahead, Chris. He saw that 29, and he might have set this up for perfection. He almost did it there.
Yeah, right here. Medford is, Thornton is not giving a lot of room right there to the leaders, which is, he doesn't have to.
He has that right, yeah.
Yeah, the 46 does work by, along with Janik right there. 1 and 2 get by that lap traffic right there. Man, and Chris Medford in the laps leading up to that, Ellis, man, he was putting together some really, really nice, you mentioned it, center of the corner speed. That car was just digging on the bottom. We'll have to see if he's able to maintain that pace, as he's putting a little bit of a gap right here, beginning to put a little bit of a gap right here on Evan Janik.
Yeah, we're going to get, I think, a pretty clear picture as to lap time comparisons here between Chris Medford and Evan Janik when they get to the line. I'm curious to see what that lap time was. They were both run, I believe, clean on that lap. And yeah, about a tenth and a half faster Chris Medford was over Evan Janik that time by, Chris. So that 46 right now, with just 15 laps before the end of stage 1, is the fastest car on the track. Evan Janik now about 5 car lengths back in second place. You have to go almost a full straightaway back to find Brad Nelson in that number 33 in third, working his way through a couple of lap cars right now. Steve Gill continues to be very courteous getting out of the way. Boy, the number 33 and Nelson really loose off the corner. It's going to open the door potentially for Jacob Cochran to close in just about 2 car lengths off the back bumper of that number 33 of Brad T. Nelson. Cochran's had a rocket ship under him all night long, Chris. He's starting to showcase that speed as he begins to climb his way. And look now for the 3rd position. Don't look now, out, but that 84, Chris, might be a contender tonight as we watch them roll into turn 3.
He definitely might be. He's the one that started at the back, Ellis, moving his way up here into the 3rd spot. And we're going to re-rack him here at the conclusion of lap 40 when the stage break occurs. And that's going to be great news for Jacob Cochran. He's got really good speed, but, being able to make up the ground on those 2 leaders up ahead of him under caution is going to be a lot easier than chasing them down here under green. So Cochran's looking forward to that stage break.
Yeah, and hey, speaking of looking forward to stage breaks, we got a big-time race going on, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. It looks like the 25 of Andy Berry just kind of gapped him a little bit, but behind him, Brett Wren, David Moyer, Caleb Hunt. This has been a little bit of a hornet's nest for the past couple of laps, the battle between Hunt and Moyer right now. Hunt's going to get the better end of that, Chris. David Moyer dropping like a rock over the course of this run, and that is the danger with a short track with tight turn radiuses and not much banking. Those tires are going to take a beating, and I think we've seen David Moyer starting 6th tonight. His tires have they've seen better days here with just about 12 laps left in this stage. I'm sure he's probably learned some lessons maybe from this first run. That's going to be important not only for Moyer, but lots of other drivers in the field. Chris, Andrew Schob and Douglas Wasaki battle for 7th position going on right now up in front of them. There goes Schob to the inside, but below Wasaki in that number 11. Schob in the John Deere car. Look at the center of the corner speed he's got over Wasaki. Wasaki might be a driver who's starting to lose a little bit of grip on those tires as well.
Yeah, Douglas Wasaki slipping back another spot right here, but still, running really strong right here in the 7th spot. Andrew Schob and Jacob Cochran right here. This stage break is going to be their best friend as they're going to sort of bunch back up here under the caution flag. Going to be curious to see what drivers decide to do here, Ellis. If anybody decides to do any type of possible strategy calls on this stage break. I think that if I was out there having all the tire sets that they have around this Milwaukee Mile, I think that I'm going to take 4 tires here because, you would think it's difficult to pass, but, look at these 2 drivers right here of Cochran and Schob making their way up through the field right here. I would definitely want the fresh rubber.
Yeah, I think you're on to something there. I think it's going to be quite a premium here as we continue to roll. Just about 10 laps left in this stage. And as things even out just a little bit, we're going to try to take one break before we get to this stage caution so we can see those live pit stops, and we might even be able to talk to a driver and kind of get a sense of what's happened over this first stage. We're going to hear from our partners at Whiplash SimCams. We'll be back right on the other end of this break. Stick around.
Back here live at the Milwaukee Mile. Chris Medford leading over Evan Janik right here. Medford put up about a 1 second gap here, Ellis, over the 71 of Janik. And Janik possibly going to see what he can do right here on this caution flag. I know he's probably going to want those fresh tires, Ellis, to see maybe if he can gain some ground on his competitor out here.
Yeah, I think Janet's going to be looking for those fresh tires, potentially find a little bit of new life in that number 71. Learned a lot of lessons, and we're going to try to maybe find out what he's learned under caution when we try to maybe bring him into the booth and see what he's figured out. But Janik right now closing just about a second, you mentioned back. Jacob Cochran about 2.5 seconds behind the leader. He's maintained position. Chris, Derek Jewett, another one of the cars that I'm continuing to see gain. He's up to 4th, but But Alex Pollock chasing down Adam Holson for 8th position right now in a hurry. Pollock's got one of the faster cars on the track over the last couple of laps, and you can see how he's able to roll that bottom of the corner as he sails it out of turns 3 and 4 there. Pollock's got a pretty good hot rod right now, looking to go from 9th to 8th. Adam Holson's got other plans as he closes the door, but he can't keep it closed for too long as that number 8 slides up the track just a little bit. It's going to be Pollock looking to the inside.
Yeah, I think Adam Holson is going to be another one of those drivers, Ellis, that really wants this caution right here. He's been slipping back here in the last few laps, falling back right here to the 9th spot from his 5th place starting spot. And that includes, with some drivers that fell to the back of the field, Ellis. So here he is charging back to the inside of Alex Pollock. He's not going to let him get away, saying not so fast, my friend. But that's going to be hard considering the speed I think that 92 has comparing to that 8 right now at this stage of the run.
No, they got to be close there. Almost a little bit of contact between the 8 and the 92. Straight blows back and forth here. The 92 and the 8, that's Pollock and Holston. Now, Holston is 2nd place in points, so he's got to be careful. He's got 1 win on the season, looking for another. Doesn't want to do anything to hurt his chances here in stage 1. We're just now about 2 laps from the conclusion, and to remind viewers at home, 5 drivers will receive points for their top 5 finishes in stage 1 and stage 2. Every point is valuable, especially as you go further back into the pack and looking who might make the playoffs and who might not make the playoffs. You want to accrue every single point you can. And for drivers like Derek Jewett, Brad Nelson, Andrew Shobe, even Douglas Wasaki, those important points are going to be important as they kind of fight it out for the final 4th, 5th, and 6th position right now. Jewett has a pretty good lead over Brad T. Nelson, but Nelson looks like he's closing that gap a little bit.
Yeah, Nellis, we got really close to the battle for second about a lap ago between Evan Janik and Jacob Cochran. Cochran was all over the rear bumper of Janik. Janik's got to hold on for 1 more lap right here, but Jacob Cochran is coming really fast and really strong. He's going to have his hands full right here. I don't know if Cochran might make a lunge at him in turn 3. He's got 1 more shot at him before this stage break.
Yeah, this is going to be it. Will Cochran try to make the aggressive move and go underneath Janik. Janik gets a little bit loose headed down in that corner. He's going to open the door for Cochran, but Janik's going to have the runoff. Cochran maybe gets that curb in just the right way to get it a little bit of sideways and get him some center off speed. Not going to be enough, though. I believe we're going to see the caution flag fly here in just a moment. Maybe, not yet. Maybe. There it is. Waiting for race control. They wait for the top 5, I believe, to cross the line. It's going to be Medford, Janik, Cochran, Jewett, and Brad Nelson, your point winners for stage number 1. That's 40 of 150 laps. And Chris, we didn't see a single caution the entire time. It's going to give these opportunities to drivers to come down pit road, get a fresh set of Goodyear tires, breathe a little bit of new life into some of these drivers who are maybe regretting how quickly they pushed their cars in the first 40 laps.
Yeah, a lot of respect shown out here. This is a track where there can be some contact, a little bit of casual contact, but everybody did a really nice job of respecting each other, respecting the track. Great to see that green flag racing for 40 laps. As Chris Medford is going to lead the field down pit road here, Ellis. Yep,
they're going to take this hard left-hander once they roll through turn 4 in just a moment. We're going to see where they're going to come out. This is going to be a big moment. I know we're only 40 laps in, but track position does matter. Not the easiest track to pass on, and we're going to see if any of these drivers can't make up a little bit of ground as they got to hit that speed limit on the entry to pit road. Oh, Evan Janik tries to make up for any gap he had behind the leader, Chris Medford. They're going to come to their attention, the pit crews. You got to be careful not to slide it in. Drivers can make mistakes on these pit road entries to their stall. Medford and Janik look like they hit their marks perfectly. Brad Nelson, Andrew Shobe coming in there as well to the attention of their crew. We're going to see who's going to win this race off pit road. Left side goes up as the Jackman gets ready to load those tires on. Going to be Medford, Janik, and I believe Cochran is going to come off 3rd. He's going to take that from Brad Nelson. Actually, no, Cochran already had third position. So top 4 comes off as they were. We're going to see if we can't grab a word with Chris Medford here from Charity Motorsports, see if we can't bring him into the booth. Hey, Chris Medford, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. Do you have a copy?
Got a copy.
Hey, man. Well, congratulations. You won that race off of pit road. You won the pole. You've led a majority of the race. Talk to us about how the first 40 laps have gone. Have they gone according to the plans you drew up?
I mean, the plan is always try to lead every lap, but no, I mean, 40 laps, no caution. That's great by everybody. Evan definitely had a good short and medium run card. Someone did a little bit better in the longer run. Look at my relative. Looks like Cochran is coming pretty strong there at the end. But said, I'm not sure what I burned up there and what I didn't burn up there, so I guess we'll see.
So I say any lessons you learned on maybe what you can do to maintain tire wear just a little bit better on this next run?
It's hard. Really just stay out in the lead is going to be the hardest part. So you can kind of do what you want to do with the track. So I guess we'll have to see and find out.
All right, man. Well, intensity is going to pick up. Good luck out there. We might talk to you at the end of the race.
Good. Appreciate it.
Problem. All right, so that was Chris Medford, watching him roll around in the lead right now. I believe he's behind one car. That car is on the tail end of the lead lap. They're going to get the wave around here momentarily, I believe. That's the 91 of Alan Zukov. But Medford is the leader, comes off pit road there. Janik, you heard him talking about Jacob Cochran, Chris. 46 noticed. Cochran had some long run speed towards the end. Going to be something to follow as we get ready for a restart here. If you're on the top of the box as the crew chief and spotter for one of these drivers, what are you telling them right now?
Like you said, Ellison, this is the best time that you can possibly make a pass on your toughest competitors out here. Jacob Cochran, you heard Chris Medford mention him. He's been marching up through the field, doing it the hard way. This is the easy way to do it when they're all bunched up really, really close together. So, you don't want to destroy the tires early in the run right here, but you definitely want to try to be aggressive and maybe gaining a spot or two right here while everybody's really bunched up tight. So I'm preaching probably cautious aggression.
Cautious aggression is a great way to put it right now. That aggression's going to be on Chris Medford towards his throttle pedal as he watches the flagman and looks for that restart zone. It's on him to choose when to go, and there it is. Green flag racing once again, the beginning of stage 2 for race number 15, the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series here at Milwaukee. Medford gets off to a good start. Janik slides into second. Jacob Cochran in third position. Brad Nelson fourth. Right behind them, it's a battle between Derek Jewett and Adam Holston. Jewett in that 45 on the inside sends it down into turn number 3. Boy, Medford up in front of them got a big wiggle off the corner. Holston tries to do the crossover on the number 45, and not sure where to look. There's a lot of action going right now on this restart, Chris.
Yeah, there is right there. You mentioned that slide from Medford. This is the first time in a long time these drivers are...
Brad Nelson goes around in turn 2 off the bumper of Adam Holston. One car, heavy contact. Brett Wren, as well as the number 10 of Joshua Gillen, involved in this lap number 47 crash. And Chris, we kind of watched it play out in slow motion right there. One car got tagged, and it looked like a couple cars continued to try to make it through it without maybe fully getting on those brakes. We're going to have to check the replay to see what happened there. But Brad Nelson could have been a lot worse. Worse.
Yeah, down the front stretch right here, it looks like Brad Nelson got Derek Jewett to the inside of him. Adam Holston's going to dive in there. Looks like Jewett's going to slide up the hill right there, and it looks like, yeah, Nelson's going to try to cut down underneath, do the crossover, and Holston right there is coming with a head of steam, gets into the left rear, spins that number 33 machine around, and he's right here in front of the field right here, and Brett Wren just had nowhere to go, unfortunately. Some more contact from some more drivers. I believe that was the number 10 of Joshua Gillen that also piled into Brad T. Nelson. So very unfortunate, especially for some of these drivers right here who had some pretty good speed here tonight, Ellis.
Yeah, several drivers going to be wishing they had a quick repair. I don't believe they have one tonight in race number 15. But Brad Nelson going to have to come down pit road and does not look happy right now in that number 33 after what happened there. But caution flag is out regardless. Let's talk about, we got some fans asking for trivia. We're going to do things a little bit different tonight. Trivia will make a return next week for the next race. But tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently. If you've watched us before, we do diecast trivia giveaway via trivia. Tonight, we're just doing a competition called Bring Your Friend. Bring Your Friend. We're going to tally how many different people you can get to the broadcast chat over the course of this race. The person with the most people that they sent who get in the chat and say they were sent by you, you're going to get the free Todd Gilliland diecast tonight. So, yep, we do have Chris, one quick repair confirmed in the chat right now. Joshua Gillen, he put it. He's happy he's got a quick repair. I know the fans are at home as well. But send people to this race. Send them the link. Tell them to let us know that they sent you in the chat. We'll write it down. And the person who's got the most referrals over the course of the night, friends who join us, will get that free diecast as we watch these cars roll around under caution. Chris Medford still your leader. He's got Evan Janik and Jacob Cochran not too far behind, with Jewett and Holson filling out that top 5. John Rapp says he was sent by Chase. We got one in the chat right now. Continue to let us know who sent you. Send your friends over, and you might walk away with a diecast at the end of the night.
John Rapp sent here by iRacing superstar Chase Berry, watching this broadcast right here from the Mystic Racing League, the Fall Creek Pumping National Series. Hope you're enjoying the action right here. Yeah, so just let us know. Let us know who sent you. We would love to give you that diecast right here. As Ellis, I kind of jinxed us, I guess, a little bit right there, talking about how clean and green things were in stage 1. These drivers feeling pretty confident on these new tires, it seems here, Ellis.
I think confidence definitely showed there on that restart with some aggressive moves and drivers kind of creeping up a little bit close to those back bumpers than we saw in run number 1. We have Rob Boyer in the chat wants to see the on board in that 25 with accident avoidance as cars roll their way through 1 and 2. We might be able to go back and look at that momentarily.
Well, we're coming to the green here.
Yeah, we're getting ready to come to the green flag, and Evan Janik going to be leading the way. I believe, Janik is Medford in the lead. He's taking the outside, though.
Yeah, Medford, an interesting choice right here. Decided to take the top. And I think that's a good call, Ellis. From what we're seeing from the racing line that these fast drivers like to run, I think he's counting on that launch off of turn 2, Ellis.
I am curious to see if he gets that launch that he believes he will. We're coming to the restart. Lap 51 of 150, almost over a third of the way through here at Milwaukee. Medford in the outside, black and red 46, mashes the throttle. He's your leader. He does, Chris, get the launch indeed that he hoped he would. Janik's now got to deal with Derek Jewett in the 45. He's going to make easy work of that, and he closes the back bumper quickly on the 46 of Chris Medford. Janik's now setting sail on the lead. Jacob Cochran also gets by Derek Jewett on that restart. Jewett shows a nose to the inside, maybe not going to have anything for Jacob Cochran. That yellow and black number 84, Chris, was one of the cars we saw have a lot of long run speed, but right now he's showing some short run speed as he tries to work his way underneath Evan Janik. Points leader Evan Janik down into 1. Janik thinks about closing the door. Cochran says, I don't think so, and he forces the issue as they go through turn 2. Now down to the backstretch here on lap 53.
Yeah, Janik right there, he was giving him room. He gave him room right there, but he was making life difficult for Jacob Cochran, which is what you can really do with your racing line here around the Milwaukee Mile. Janik closes up on the rear bumper of Medford. Some contact in turns 3 and 4.
Contact in 3 and 4, but an even bigger battle going on right now. In 4th position, Adam Holson, Derek Jewett, Andrew Shobin, Alex Pollock throw a blanket over these drivers. They were just almost 3 wide a moment ago. Pollock struggling a little bit with rotation out of the corner. They separate now. They've worked it out like gentlemen, but for a moment there, it was touch and go. And Chris Medford continues to lead, Chris, but Evan Janik and Jacob Cochran continue. Cochran now to the inside. You're watching him head down the front straightaway. Cochran draws even with the left side of that number 71. Cochran takes the spot here. Second place, Jacob Cochran for the first time tonight. Janik tries to fight back on the outside, but doesn't have anything, at least off of turn 2. It's about 8 car lengths behind Derek Jewett, Adam Holston, and Andrew Shobe as they continue to do work here on lap number 55 of 150. And Chris, before you know it, 84 of Medford, we might be talking about a new leader. He is shot out of a cannon, struggles a little bit off turn 4, though.
Yeah, Chris Medford, he's definitely, you heard him mention that when we pulled him into the broadcast booth earlier. He had his eyes on Jacob Cochran. He knew that Cochran had the speed coming up through the field, especially seemed like he had that long run speed. And we can see how well he gets, he gets going on a restart as well. That is, that's probably, a little bit of an ominous sign right there for some of his competitors here, as he seems to just have that all-around speed tonight, Ellis.
All-around speed, indeed. And I'm just looking through Jacob's stats. He's run 8 races, and it's been kind of up and down over the course of the season. I'm looking at some of his best finishes. Martinsville was indeed one of those. Rockingham, he won. So short track specialist here, we might call Jacob Cochran, is making quick work of the top 5, now up to the second position, and he's definitely shines at these short tracks. Battle going on right now between Shobe and Adam Holston, though. Shobe working his way by Holston. That was for the 5th position. Shobe's been fast all night, Chris. He was one of the cars we were watching in practice that we believe very well might have some speed and might contend for the win. He's looking like he is going to potentially prove us right as he gets into contention in the top 5. The first time tonight for that number 69.
Yeah, he doesn't quite seem to have the raw speed right now that the 84 does, but he might have podium speed tonight, Ellis. And a lot of things can happen before the end of this thing. So yeah, Andrew Shobe is no slouch. We've seen him all season show a lot of speed. Wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see him up there battling for the win of this thing before the end of the night.
Battling for the win. They battling for the win right now up front, Chris. Chris Medford, Jacob Cochran, Evan Janik. About 3 car lengths separate all 3 of your leaders. And boy, man, we about had contact there. This is as good of a battle as you could ask for. If these drivers send it down in turn 3, look at the rotation that 46 and 84 get. They leave Janik by about 2 car lengths there. He might pick some of it back up with a run off the corner. But if you're 84 of Jacob Cochran in that yellow and black car, how much are you going to push the issue right now as we watch him maybe tap the brake a little bit with a courtesy towards the 46 in Medford? He's loose off the corner.
Well, clean air is very important. Chris Medford mentioned it in, the stage break when we were talking to him. Clean air is very important. It's probably one of the most important things for tire wear. So, Medford seems like he really wants to fight hard to maintain that clean air. Likewise, Jacob Cochran, he wants that clean air. So I wouldn't say that Jacob Cochran, especially with a stage break coming up at lap 90, I wouldn't say that he's probably going to push the issue so much for contact necessarily. But he's definitely going to have that front bumper all over the rear bumper of Chris Medford, putting the pressure on him, maybe hoping to pressure him into a mistake.
Oh, he jumps to the outside. Cochran tries to mix it up a little bit. He forces the hand of Medford a little bit. He's going to try to get a run off the corner. I don't necessarily think that worked like Cochran hoped it would there. Doesn't get the run off the corner that he might have been looking for as we watch them send it down into turn 1 once again. Recapping, if you're just joining us here on lap 62 of 150, race number 15 for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series from Mystic Racing League. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp in the booth. Top 5 as they run: Chris Medford, Jacob Cochran, Evan Janik. You can see them all 3 in the frame, and you can kind of see position 4, Derek Jewett, come into the back of the frame there with Andrew Shobe in 5th position. Just joining us, we have only had 1 caution this evening for cause. That was a caution back on lap number 52. Everyone's done a heck of a job tonight. We've seen some great green flag racing, and you're watching it play out right now. Last week at Sonoma, or 2 weeks ago at Sonoma, we had a great finish. This one's shaping up to be just as good, if not better. This is reminiscent of what we saw at Gateway about 3 weeks ago, Chris.
Yeah, and just to give the Stephen Gill fans an update, Gill's just spun off of turn 4 and nosed it into the inside wall of pit road. And unfortunately for that Duracell battery machine, might be some terminal damage. I think he had to tow because he possibly blew the engine on that machine. And we're going to get a replay right here of Gill coming off of turn 4. And yeah, he's just going to slide out. It's going to slide out from underneath him right there. And man, he hit the pit road opening and went right into that inside pit wall.
Heck of a job. They're going to be wishing he was driving that Energizer Bunny car, maybe be able to go a little bit longer there. But tough night for Steve Gill comes to a conclusion. He might have a quick repair if he hasn't already used it to get back out there. Potentially, drivers do have that option tonight. In the chat, we got a couple people saying they're rooting for Kyle Larson at the Indy 500. Jacob Cochran off the wall there, trying to get by Chris Medford. Right now, these drivers are driving about as fast as Kyle Larson. Boy, man. The 84 is just getting through the corners so well, Chris. And this shows you how difficult it is to pass. If you're in a situation like this in the final 30 laps, does your mentality change? Are these drivers willing to use what they got in the front of these cars to get the job done tonight?
Do you mean the chrome horn, Ellis? Because, yes, that is a possibility, and we got a battle for second right here. Jacob Cochran slid a little bit off of turn 2. That's going to enable Evan Janik to get to his inside and give Janik that second spot. We might have been sleeping on Evan Janik a little bit right here. He's trying to remind everybody, hey, I still got some speed. I might be able to do something with this right here as Janik's going to move into the second spot. Yeah, I think that we could possibly see a little bit of front bumper to rear bumper contact here. This track lends itself to that. These drivers are very respectful, though, Ellis. You don't see a lot of that every single week here in this series. I don't think that that's their first choice, but nothing would surprise me here at the Milwaukee Mile.
I don't think I'm surprised by the clean green flag racing we've had tonight here. I want to direct it back to 10th position. We got a battle brewing between Caleb Hunt and Brett Wren and Andy Berry. Hunt in that black number 78 Monster Energy machine. He's had the door, the gap closed on him by Brett Wren and Andy Berry back in there in that 25. I know we got some number 25 Andy Berry fans in the chat. Oh, a little bit tight off the corner there. Maybe trying to get by that 24 of Brett Wren. I think he might have kept out of the wall, at least avoiding any serious damage. Both of these drivers, you can see the different lines. Really 3 lines, Chris, that they are running. Brett Wren taking it all the way up and continuing that momentum off the corner. Barry was running the diamond, and then the 78 of Caleb Hunt running on the bottom. Switches it up there, though, trying to diamond. Look at that diamond that number 78 makes. Is that going to maybe have a little bit of impact on the tire wear of that car, Chris?
Yeah, I'm maybe not the same as all drivers. I find that the diamond sometimes does result in a little bit more tire wear because you're spending a little bit more time on throttle, like trying to rotate to the bottom right there. But, every driver's different. You have your own approach, and you have what works for you. So, definitely don't want to knock that because it definitely might work for Caleb here as this run goes on. Give a call to Brett Wren right there in the 11th spot, right behind Caleb Hunt, Ellis. He's running our heart rate monitor tonight. And look at that heart rate monitor. A cool 80 beats per minute. We talk about it every single week that Brett Wren is wearing this thing. He is one calm, cool customer out here on the racetrack.
Cool as a cucumber. My heart's beating faster than 80 BPM. I'm not even racing. I'm just calling the race from the booth right now. But yeah, you can see it. That is what is maybe led to him climbing near the top 10, trying to break in that top 10, Chris, for the first time tonight in that 24. Brett Wren has kind of been a story of ups and downs over the course of the season for Brett Wren. He's been on the upswing lately. 11th place at Sonoma, 12th place before Worldwide 2 weeks before Worldwide Tech. Can't we just say Gateway? He was Gateway. He was 12th at Gateway, and right now he's looking for 10th. We could be a 12th, 11th, and 10th. 3 races in a row. Working on Caleb Hunt. A little loose off the corner for Wren. He had been gaining on Hunt the past couple of laps, but you can see, Chris, the rear drive in these cars has started to slowly weaken as that grip has gone down just a little bit. Brett Wren showcasing that degradation just a little bit. Lap 90 is the end of stage number 2. That's going to happen in about 18 and a half laps where drivers will, for the final time tonight, maybe be able to come in and get a fresh set of Goodyear tires for the final 60 laps of the race. But this battle, it just continues to get better and better. And right now, the second place battle is even better than that. Jacob Cochran and Evan Janik doing battle down the front straightaway the back straightaway as they head into 3. Chris Medford in front of them, but right now Jacob Cochran trying to get back in front of Evan Janik. We saw Cochran, Chris, last run be one of the best cars on the long run. Tire wear may be working towards his benefit. Are we starting to see the same thing potentially play out right now? Just about 3 car lengths back from first place, Chris Medford, 84, having a good run tonight.
Seems like that's definitely the case. And Evan Janik, was a little over 2 seconds behind Chris Medford at the end of stage 1. It looks like Janik's maybe starting to slide back a little bit here. So I think he held with him a little bit longer this time. So I think Evan Janik learned some things from that first stage, applied them, and he's a little bit closer here towards the end of this stage. We'll have to see if he can maintain sort of that ground, that gap that he has right here. But yeah, it definitely seems like Jacob Cochran still is the guy with the long run speed. I'd even put Chris Medford in that picture as well. Clearly the leader of this thing. He also has that long run pace, it seems, as well. Just looking to see how these two drivers right here, who we feel like have the best long run pace, sort of stack up before that lap 90 stage break.
Yeah, they are, Jacob. The lap before, there was a 10th faster by Jacob Cochran, but that time Medford booted it up just a little bit, but you can see right now Cochran all over the back bumper of Chris Medford. This is a battle for the lead. We're now over the halfway point here from Milwaukee, race number 15. The battle for the lead is heating up. Jacob Cochran on the back bumper of Chris Medford, who started from the pole. Cochran doing everything he can to get by with just 15 laps remaining in stage number 2. Getting a little bit more aggressive, Chris. The tension, the heat is palpable. Things are beginning to pick up as we enter into the second half of the race. Both of these drivers definitely going to want a stage win. They've pulled away from Evan Janik in 3rd position, who's about 10 car lengths in front of Derek Jewett and Andrew Schoeb. About a straightaway separating 1st from 5th. This thing has thinned out just a little bit here, but boy, both of these cars still getting through these corners relatively well compared to Evan Janik, who's sliding around a little bit back there. And how much harder that 84 can drive it into the corner. I'm impressed right now here on lap number 78.
Yeah, we saw Jacob Cochran really close up on the rear bumper of Chris Medford after completing that pass on Evan Janik. But when you get to the rear bumper, that's where things become very hard, Ellis. That's when the aero push is at its worst. And
here they come up on Gino Volanti.
Yeah, here they are coming up on that lap car. Oh, Volanti's in the way of Cochran, and that was really, really close right there. I don't think that Cochran knew just how close they were to the rear bumper of Gino Volanti. He's going to have to regroup right here, but Ellis, this might be a good thing. If he can charge up there to the rear bumper of Chris Medford, he's got a little bit of gap right here. He's got a little bit of clean air. If he can charge up to that, I think that when he gets there, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jacob to try to complete the pass as he is making the charge. If he gets stalled out behind Medford again, it's going to be hard to complete the pass before the end of the stage.
So timing is going to be very important here on the final 10 laps of this second stage tonight. Looking through, just see how much faster Cochran is able to run. That time by, he was about 3/4 of a tenth faster. You can see it illustrated right there by how much he closed on the back bumper of Medford, just in about a lap and a half. Cochran definitely at this stage in the run has the faster car. How much pressure is he willing to apply right now? Slides it a little bit through turns 3 and 4. That 84 is loose, but he continues the fight, continues the charge. Jacob Cochran trying to get by to the lead before the end of stage 2 elapses here. They go by David Moyer, working pit road for the second time tonight. Maybe trying to get that stop in before we go under caution in just about 9.5 laps. The gap widens a little bit as Cochran regroups.
Yeah, Cochran right here, he is closing up. I've noticed, Ellis, he's not closing up as fast as he did before. It's like the car slid a little bit right there in turns 3 and 4. He lost all that ground he had gained a little bit. It's like a little bit over 0.2 of a second right there in turns 3 and 4. So you're going to have to regroup right here. This is a very line-sensitive track, Ellis. If you hit your marks, or if you miss your marks, I should say, the penalty is very, very, very big here at Milwaukee.
We mentioned how much of a technical racetrack it is, and it's usually often those tracks where one mistake is compounded and exacerbated, and you really feel the effects of that. And we've seen Jacob Cochran pay the price a couple of times. Janik definitely we've seen that as that car has loosened up over the course of the run. Janik in third position. Fourth is Andrew Shobe has gone by Derek Jewett for fourth position, and then Derek Jewett is in fifth position. Chris, a little bit of a battle going on, I believe, further back in the pack, just trying to find it on my screen. Alex Pollock and Douglas Wasaki, you called it, Johnny. This is a battle going on for the sixth position. Every position matters here as we approach the final stage of this race. Pollock has impressed me tonight. He's had a fast little Mountain Dew, sorry, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The logo was green, to be fair, so it threw me off a little bit. Pollock,
he's on the apron here. I don't know what happened there.
We're running a little bit of an alternate line there. He knew he was on camera and trying to show off and flex on us a little bit in that number 92. Maybe trying to reach for a swig of that Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Maybe that's what happened, but it's going to open the door for Brad Nelson there.
That's what happened.
And a little bit loose for that number 92. But Brad Nelson's going to be on the attack. He's going to take advantage of that mistake that Alex Pollock made down into turn number 1. Nelson trying to regroup after starting inside the top 3, I should say. Yeah, he started third. Got involved in a crash earlier around lap 50, but he's slowly come back up into the top 8, trying to get back into the top 7 before this stage is out in just about 5 laps, seeing if he can't get by. Alex Pollock loses a little bit of ground there. And Jacob Cochran, you haven't missed anything up front. He is continuing to hound the back bumper of that number 46, but Chris Medford not having any of it. Chris, we had mentioned just a moment ago, you had kind of predicted that maybe if Cochran was able to time it right and make that charge without getting stalled out, he could very well get by for the lead. But we've seen that charge come and go, and we haven't seen the pass that Cochran had hoped he would be able to kind of position on Chris Medford, and he remains in second place with just about 3 laps left in this second of 3 stages.
Yeah, Ellis, I think that, Chris Medford is just fast in the right place tonight. The right places, I should say. Jacob Cochran is really getting through the center of the corner really well. I'd say he's getting through the center of the corner better than anybody else on the racetrack. But Chris Medford is getting off the corners better than anybody else on the racetrack tonight. That number 46 Chevy speed up off of the corners, the launch that he gets, and a lot of it has to do with the line that he's running. He's up the track a little bit right in the center of the corner and kind of comes back down, sort of like a pseudo diamond in a way, not a full diamond, but he's doing it correctly, and he's able to get that speed up off the corner, and without having the advantage on corner exit, it's going to be very hard for Jacob Cochran to make the pass. It might be in some lap traffic though, as that might be his best opportunity here before the end of the stage.
Yeah, Medford approaching the mystery machine of Reggie Kime and that number 9. Kime cautiously moves to the right of the track, allows a lane underneath him for Chris Medford, the leader. They're going to slide off of turn 2. It's going to be Cochran having to make the choice where he's going to go down into turn 3. They're also going to be coming up on Joshua Gillen, a fan favorite. Lots of Gillen fans in the chat right now with that patriotic red, white, and blue scheme. Not necessarily the image that they'd want to see of the leaders going by Joshua Gillen, but it's a good-looking car while it happens, that's for sure. There goes Medford. Will he stick with the inside? Will Cochran go to the inside? This is going to be it, Chris. I believe we're going to see the caution here in just a minute.
Yeah,
lap number 90, and he's got one more corner if he's going to make it happen.
Yeah, this is his chance right here. This is his last chance right here, and I don't think that he's going to be able to do it as they're trying to clear the lap car right here of Joshua Gillen. Cochran charges up there right there in the center of the corner, but it's just, I don't think it's going to be enough, Ellis.
Not enough. Cochran's going to fall short, but that is only the end of stage 2. We got one stage left. 60 laps. It'll be about 55 when we go green for the final third of this race. There is the caution. It's the third caution we've had tonight. Only one of them has been for cause. It's been a clean race from Milwaukee. If you're just joining us, Chris Medford has won that stage. He'll be first. Cochran second. Janik will be third. Jobe and Jewett fourth and fifth, respectively. Those will be the drivers taking home championship points for stage number 2 tonight. We're going to be getting set for pit stops here, and these are important. These are the most important pit stops of the race. They are going to set us up where I believe, Chris, drivers should be able to make it. If we go green, I think this will be the only stop of the race. I believe they've got enough fuel to go the final 55 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So every 10th of a second here on pit road is going to matter.
Yeah, I agree right here. This is going to be a very, very critical moment of this race right here. The winner of the race off of pit road could very well find themselves in control of this race for the rest of the race. So you definitely need a mistake-free venture down pit road here.
And we get ready to see those cars make that hard left-hand turn. Here they come down pit road. It's going to be Medford, Cochran, Janik, and Shobe leading them down pit road. And we're going to be keeping an eye. The crews cannot be controlled by the driver, but the driver can set up a good pit stop by their angle in, whether they slide the nose in through the pit stall or not. It looks like everyone has a pretty good entry there. We're going to see if Medford can gas up and be the first one off here. There goes Cochran. Going to be a race down pit road, but Medford's going to win it. It's going to be Medford, Cochran, and Janik. Shobe and Brad Nelson will come out 4th and 5th. I should say that's Derek Jewett coming out in 5th position. And boy, Chris, I am curious if maybe we might try to bring in Jacob Cochran here into the Discord, into the booth, to see if we can't figure out what he's going to have to do to get this thing done. Let me see if I can find Jacob real quick. He's currently in Race Chat 3. Hey, Jacob Cochran, it's Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, well, you've been looking fast on these long runs all night, but you haven't been able to get the job done on Chris Medford yet. We talked to him earlier. He's definitely noticing that long run speed you've got. He noticed you at the end of the first stage. He noticed you at the end of the second stage. What are you willing to do to get the job done? We've seen you play nice tonight. Are you going to have to go outside your comfort zone a little bit if you're going to get the win?
Well, I mean, if it comes down to it, I will. I don't normally race that way, but a win's a win. He's doing a very good job of running a line that I just can't get around. I can't get the power down to get around him. So, I think we're just a little bit faster than him. Especially on the longer runs, but it's just trying to make that move. And very few times he's slipped up, I've slipped up with him. So, we're just trying to time it right and make it happen.
Timing is everything, man. We'll be keeping an eye on it. We'll let you get to it. Good luck. Pull that visor down, and we might talk to you at the end of the race.
All right. Thank you.
Sir. All right. You heard from Jacob Cochran. Talked about how difficult it was to get by the leader, Chris Medford, but willing to use the bumper, Chris. That's going to be something we're going to keep an eye on as they get ready to get. They've taken the one to go here, just about half a lap away from the restart. If you're just joining us, we got some great racing action going on. If you're in the YouTube chat, let us know who sent you. Also, send some other folks. Every person you send who lets us know you sent them counts as a point for you in our diecast giveaway. Send someone to the chat. Let them watch. Tell them to let them know or let us know that you sent them, and we'll give you a point for that person with the most referrals and friends in the chat at the end of the night gets that Todd Gilliland diecast. Right now, these drivers are concerned about the win here. What's going to take to get it done? Go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Interesting choice right here from the 84, Jacob Cochran, taking the inside lane, the 3rd spot right here behind Chris Medford.
And there it is. We're green flag racing once again. 3rd spot. Jacob Cochran elects to go to the inside. Janik's going to try to make him regret that choice in that black and blue 71. Janik might not just have his eye on 2nd. He might have his eye on the lead. Janik to the outside. Gets a better run off the corner than Medford. This might be Janik's chance to pounce. We've talked about how difficult it is to pass all night long. Janik sends it into turn 3. Way up high. It's going to lose ground, but it's going to get him a run off the corner. He'll be side by side with Medford at the line. Dead heat as they head down into turn 1.
Man, side by side right here. Evan Janik is sending it on corner entry way up the hill, but he comes right down onto the door right here. Chris Medford going to try to make it difficult for Medford to get off the corner right here. Jacob Cochran sees that. He's going to try to follow Evan Janik around the outside of Medford.
Janik closes the door on Medford. He's got a
Medford
clear
sliding.
lead. Medford slides it. He's loose. Cochran also. Evan Janik sideways. Medford trying to hold on to it. It's going to open the door for Cochran to go to the lead. Battle for first between Cochran on the inside, Evan Janik on the outside in that 71. Cochran's had the fastest car on the long run all night, but tonight, right now, he's fastest on the short run. He goes from third to first in a matter of 3 laps. Janik's going to try to send it to the inside down into turn 3.
He tried to send it right there, but Cochran drove it in deep, maybe a little bit too deep as he's going to slide up the hill right here. Evan Janik going to battle back on the inside. Look at the turn on that 71. He's going to complete the pass here, Ellis.
He's going to complete the pass back to first place after a surprise push on the outside to get him to the lead on that restart. Janik able to get that yellow curbing just perfectly in a way that we haven't seen many drivers do all night long. He's going to use it to catapult him into the lead. Can he hold on to it? A hungry Jacob Cochran not too far behind. Meanwhile, Chris, the big surprise the last 5 laps, Chris Medford, the fastest car all night, has fallen back now 8-9 car lengths from the battle for the lead. He's now fallen back into the clutches of Andrew Shobe, Adam Holston, and Derek Jewett, along with Brad Nelson.
Yeah, we talk about how hard it is, Ellis, to complete a pass when you lose the track position. The restarts are definitely the best time to gain those positions. And right now, Chris Medford's going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to be able to do anything possibly with the 84 and the 71 up the road in front of him.
He's got a handful with the cars behind him. It's about 4th or 3rd all the way through 10th place, just kind of following Medford, the Pied Piper right now. They're all looking through their front windows at the battle for the lead that's going on between Evan Janik and Jacob Cochran right now, continuing to heat up to Cochran get a little bit of the wall off that corner.
Yeah, we saw those drivers right there, both the 71 and the 84. They were trying to use that yellow curbing on the inside of turns 1 and 2 right there to help turn those cars. They're trying to use every inch of real estate out there and then some to try to help those cars turn right in the center of the corner. And Cochran slid a little bit on the exit of turn 2. Oh, we got one car. I heard I don't know where it is right there, but I thought I heard something. It looks like everything might be clear. I don't know if that was Brett Wren maybe in the 24 that possibly had trouble. It was.
I think it was Brett Wren who had some trouble.
Yeah, he got a little bit loose right there off of turn 4, and he hit the barrels, it looks like, on the inside of pit wall.
But look at that heart rate. It's low as it's been all night.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's over with now.
Continuing now on lap 103, just 47 laps remaining. My goodness, Evan Janik sideways through turns 2. Down the backstretch, I thought we were going to have a moment there where Cochran was getting to get into the back of that number 71 points leader, Evan Janik. Chris, don't look now. The 46 has closed the gap. He's right back there. Cue the Jaws music. Medford has mounted a charge. Has Evan Janik used up all the good in those Goodyear tires? He's now on the outside of a hard-charging Jacob Cochran with Chris Medford not far behind. Cochran looks like he lurches it a little bit further north into the corner on the exit of turn number 2. Cochran to the inside in that black and yellow 84. The 71 machine belongs to Evan Janik as they sail it down into this very, very, very shallow bank, turns number 3 and 4. Cochran on the inside, Janik on the outside. Janik really loose. Going to lose that spot to Cochran, and now will Chris Medford, thought about showing the bumper down into turn number 1. He's going to think better of it. He's going to diamond the corner, and that 46 very well might have a good run off. He turned him. He turned him. The 46 gets in the back of Janik. We're still under green flag conditions. Will they throw a caution or will they let Janik get it going? They choose to let it run. We are still green here in Wisconsin from Milwaukee. And boy, big turn of events. If you're just joining us, race leader for at least a portion of the race, Evan Janik, just went sideways off the bumper of Chris Medford, and lost all the way back to 14th, lost 13 positions on that, Chris, and I don't think that was intentional in any way. I think that it was just one of those racing deals based on first glance at least.
Yeah, it looked like Evan Janik Chris Medford got through the center of the corner a little bit better. Look, Evan Janik was kind of low right there. I noticed he was kind of running that line to try to maybe de-wedge the car, or maybe help the car turn a little bit in the center of the corner. And I think that, Chris Medford was, he had a good run off of turn 4, and he was trying to utilize that momentum and try to stay as close as he could to the rear bumper of Janik. And I think he just misjudged it, and unfortunately for Evan, turned him around right there. So we'll definitely watch the drive of the 71, maybe see if he can come back up through the field here. It's going to be difficult unless he gets a caution.
And as our friend Rick Allen says, major championship implications right now for Evan Janik, the points leader, back to 14th position. Connor in the chat really wants us to read his joke, Chris. He says, why did the coffee taste like dirt? Any ideas what the answer is here?
Because it was ground just a few minutes ago.
Well, you said that just like you read it off the chat.
How about that?
I like the joke. That's a good joke, Connor. He went from elation about his own joke to not very happy that Evan Janik just got turned. So the emotions, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, Connor experiencing there in the chat. Hey, let us know if you're watching at home. We appreciate you tuning in. We're doing this diecast giveaway. It's neck and neck between Connor Lyons and Joshua Gillen tonight for the Todd Gilliland diecast car. Just let us know. Send as many people our way. Share that link on your phone. Share it on your computer. Tell the person you're sharing it with to let us know in the chat that you sent them. And the person with the most friends who popped into the chat over the course of the night, they're going to take home that Todd Gilliland diecast. Still plenty of time to get those folks into the chat. And Chris, I was about to say, yeah, go ahead.
That's a knee slapper, Connor.
Yeah. Great joke. Right now, Chris, Andrew Shobe, I know we got some Shobe fans in the chat. He's dealing with Chris Medford, but consistently, Shobe has been running lap times neck and neck with Jacob Cochran. So we talked about Shobe not having top 2 speed, but he has found himself in the top 2 right now, being pushed by Chris Medford as we watch on board that rear deck lid of the number 69. He can see Chris Medford's eyes out of that back bumper, but right now, he's really focused on what's out in front of him as well, and that is the lead. That time by lost a little bit of time dealing with a lap car and Chris Medford, but Shobe is going to continue that charge that he's mounted from second position. He was the benefactor of that Evan Janik spin just about 6 laps ago. 38 laps left here. Jacob Cochran has pulled away by about 8 car lengths, but Medford, who lost speed when he had to get out of the throttle, did everything he could not to wreck Evan Janik. Chris Medford trying to lock back in, as the kids say, and really push it the final 36 laps of this race or so.
Yeah, Chris Medford's car is turning really, really well under braking. You can see how that 46 car really, gets to the bottom, gets to the inside of the track right there, about a lane lower than the 69 of Andrew Shobe. We got 3 wide right here with Derek Jewett. Derek Jewett up into the side almost of Brad T. Nelson. They do make some contact.
Heavy contact between Coach and Derek Jewett there in that number 45. Derek Jewett on the inside, Brad T. Nelson on the outside. Nelson sends it down into turn number 3.
Those two got really close together right there. Jewett's possibly going to complete the pass right here on Brad Nelson. I think he's going to clear him right here off of turn 4. He does, and so give the spot right here to Derek Jewett. But here comes Brad Nelson trying to get out of the mirror right there of Derek Jewett. Nothing going right there into turn 1 for the driver of 33.
That looked like an angry corner entry. That looked like maybe there's a little bit of aggression in that wheel turn by Brad Nelson there. And he is driving it into that corner as he wants to get back to Jewett. And again, lots of bumping and banging tonight. Rubbin is racing, as they say. Derek Jewett's going to walk away in better shape than Nelson will on that one. He climbs his way in the top 5 again tonight after starting 11th. Jewett is one of the biggest movers tonight. Andrew Kopp back there in 10th place, Chris. 44 has moved up 11 positions, and he's just kind of minding his own business on the track right now in that number 44. But Kopp has run 2 races with Mystic Racing League. Had a 7th place at Talladega, so try to back that up tonight with a solid top 10 finish in his only 3rd start of the season. Nice looking paint scheme, black and blue. Can't go wrong with that with some chrome numbers on it. I like it. But oh boy, Andrew Schob now just he's not liking what just happened as he gets passed by Chris Medford, who's trying to do everything he can to get back to the lead. And Chris, if you're Chris Medford, you can't wait on Schob. You cannot wait on Schob. You know you've got a faster car. At least you've had a faster car over the course of the first 116 laps of this race. No more Mr. Nice Guy if you're Medford. We heard him on the radio when we were talking to him under the last stage caution. He said, look, I've been nice up this point. I don't want to race guys dirty, but if it's the difference between a win and a not a win, I'm going to go for it. And maybe we're starting to see some of that aggression pick up just a little bit behind the visor of that driver, the 46th. That's Chris Medford.
Yeah, definitely right here. As Medford knows that like you said, Ellis, he has got to clear and he's got to try to, set his sights right here on Jacob Cochran. This race has had a very clean and green look to it all night, Ellis. I think with the exception of one non-stage break caution all night, it's been green from the very beginning. So, he knows that his opportunities probably aren't going to be there for the rest of the race. Can't count on a late race yellow. And another guy that can't count on it also is a guy in 11th spot. Unfortunately, Evan Janik, for what has transpired for him. He has gained 3 spots since his slide off of the front bumper of Chris Medford. He's looking to possibly move back into the top 10 right here as he closes up on the rear bumper of Matthew Kopp. That will be a battle for the 10th spot when he does get to the rear bumper of the 44.
And I'd imagine there's a little bit of aggression behind the visor of that number 11 right now as well. Going to be curious to see any interactions he has if he's able to get back up to Chris Medford. I don't know if that's going to happen based on the fact that there's only about 30 laps left in this race. Final 20% here left in Milwaukee. Great battle going on between Janik and Kopp. We mentioned that is for the 10th position. Janik's going to get around Kopp to get back into the top 10, and you can see there's a fire in the belly of that driver, the number 71 points leader, Evan Janik. Battle for 4th position going on right now between Adam Holston and Derek Jewett going down the backstretch down into turn 3. Jewett's picked up the pace here the past couple of laps, trying to get into the top 4 for the first time tonight. Jewett in that 45 on the inside. Look at that center off speed. He's got some good roll speed on that 45 going right now, Chris.
He does right now. He's at the inside of Adam Holston. Number 2 point man, Adam Holston. Under the pressure right here from Derek Jewett. Put Jewett up into the 4th spot. And Derek Jewett's going to see right here over the course of these final about 30 laps that we have here, Ellis. If he can do anything possibly with the 69 of Andrew Schob up ahead.
Schob is in 3rd position. Jewett going to be chasing him down. Hey, in the chat, we got a lot of folks talking right now. We got a lot of Josh Gillen fans. Oh, boy, sent some folks in here to get this Todd Gilliland diecast. He wants the driver diecast that's close to his name to try to confuse me. But right now, Josh Gillen, we got Brianna Maddie in here, David Fondren in here. Waterforce Gaming, welcome for the first time. I don't think we've seen you in here during the chat. Steve Gill, we got him. It is Jacob Cochran's birthday, according to Steve Gill. I don't know if he's yanking the chain because I didn't know that Gino Volante and Jacob Cochran had the same birthday. Go ahead.
Did you know that they had both of them have the same birthday as our current producer Johnny Rapp as well? Wishing Johnny Rapp a happy birthday as well.
Man, it is a crazy day here. May 22nd, apparently a very, very important day. Lots of people born on May 22nd. Right now, Josh Gillen is having a pretty good run back there in the 12th position, but right now all eyes on Jacob Cochran in the number 84 on his birthday of all days. He is the leader with just 27 laps to go. Connor, you get one more joke. That's all. I'm not reading any more. One more. This is it. What did the speaker say to the other speaker? Are we talking about like sound speakers? I hear you. I don't know. What's the answer to this joke? He's typing it. I can see him typing it. Right now, watching Jacob Cochran working his way by Zukov, working his way by Reggie Kime, and that number 9. Setting sail, Chris. He's looking pretty good. About 1.6 seconds now separate the leader, Jacob Cochran, for Chris Medford. Andrew Schob in 3rd, and I'm just looking at lap times. Don't look now, Chris. That Derek Jewett, that number 45, hasn't gotten quite away from Adam Holston as he would like, but he's running lap times comparable with the leaders, just about 7 seconds. I think we're going to be short on time if he's going to do anything, unless a caution were to come out. But if a caution were to come out, keep an eye on him. Chris Medford running in 2nd position right now. Good race going for Medford. Probably had to lock back in, Chris, after that contact with Evan Janik. Doing a good job. Adam Holston riding on board with him right now, trying to chase down Derek Jewett at least a little bit. Chris, we talk about Adam Holston every single race, it seems. And one of the things what's the word we talk about with Adam Holston? He's Mr. what?
Mr. Consistency, right?
Mr. Consistency. I'm just looking over the course of the past, I'm looking at a line graph of the past 6 races or so. It's almost a straight line. 12th, 5th, 9th, 7th, 4th, 6th. So 4 out of the last 5 races, top 10 finishes going right now. Boy, that was a little bit close there for Derek Jewett there in that 45.
Yeah, Derek Jewett sliding a little bit right there off of the corner right there. That enabled Holston to close up a little bit closer to the rear bumper of the 45. Now the 45 to the inside of the Mystery Machine. That's Reggie Kime right there. Adam Holston's got a chance right here to get back around Derek Jewett. See if he can do anything with the driver of the 45. Going to be a little bit hard to do it right here, Ellis. But yeah, he has been super, super consistent all season long. Not surprised at all to see him up here in the top 5 at the end of this thing.
Hey, Johnny, in the chat, your father says happy birthday, son. Just letting you know, relaying that message. Connor's joke is actually a pretty good one, Chris. He said, crank up the volume is what the speaker said to the other speaker. And I think he was trying to subtly suggest to us that we do a crank it up. Johnny, do we have any crank it up cams? Do we have a crank it up cam that we can just hear the sights and sounds and ambiance of what Milwaukee has to offer?
We can certainly try it out here.
TV static? Is there a TV? There we go. There we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Connor, this is just for you. We'll go silent here. Deteriorated just a little bit thanks to that crank it up. But Connor, you got your wishes. Great race going on right now here. Lap 131 of 150 from Milwaukee. It's race 15 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series for Mystic Racing League. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp here in the Slingshot booth. If you're just joining us, Jacob Cochran is the leader. Chris Medford second, chasing him down just a little bit, but not much Medford's been able to do with Jacob Cochran, who's gotten progressively better over the long run. We talked about that 84 being the best car on the long run over the course of what we had seen this evening, and that has been bad news for the rest of the field. Cochran has extended his lead in the past couple of laps. Job, however, has been closing it up just a little bit on Chris Medford, seeing if he can't give him a run for his money. Looking through the rest of the field right now, Brad T. Nelson and Avery Berry had just been Andy Berry. I should say Nelson. Sorry, that was Berry loose off the corner there, doing a little battle with Brad Nelson here, coach down into turn number 3. Barry's name we haven't talked about. I think he's run one or two races with Mystic Racing League here in the Fall Creek Plumbing Series. But good-looking paint scheme reminds me of the Folgers Tim Richmond car. Yeah. At least those colors in that number wiggling back down into turn number 1 and 2, seeing if he can't draw a bead on the 33. And look at that center speed for the 25 of Andy Berry, getting a good little run for a moment off of Nelson. Might just got the wall just a little bit here a moment ago.
Yeah,
they're coming up on Volante.
Yeah, solid run tonight out of that number 25 of Andy Berry. A lot of solid runs out here tonight, Ellis. None of them I would say more solid than Jacob Cochran from the back of the field to the front of the field. Would you say, Ellis, that, this drive up through the field right here, would you say that this is main character energy right here from this?
Yeah, are we
Jacob
doing
Cochran?
this? Are we doing this again? Main character energy for sure. Jacob Cochran is giving leader vibes right now for sure. He's feeling good vibes in that number 46 as he continues to cook on lap 135, hoping to eat a big meal at the end of the day in victory lane.
Yeah, would you say right here that, coming from the back of the field and gaining this many positions right here, this is aura farming right here?
He is definitely aura farming, as the kids say, giving peak aura, max aura right now. Hopefully he doesn't sell by the end of this race as he's the leader right now. Boy, big battle going on between Andy Berry and Brad T. Nelson, that number 33. This has been the best battle on the track for the last couple of laps. Chris, big story. Jacob Cochran is off track. Has he been disconnected? No, he hasn't. I panicked there for a second. He is... On my screen, he's been showing as he had jumped out for an extended period of time there.
Yeah, it looks like might have been a connection lapse right there. But yeah, it looks like everything's fine for the driver of that number 84. I'm trying to look right here at his ping right here. Everything looks good and solid right now, Ellis.
It had jumped and had gone red on my screen, so I don't think that was me, but... either way, it gave us a scare there for a moment. He's maintained that 3.2 second lead over Chris Medford in second place. You heard some of our Gen Z slang back and forth there. I just cringe every time I hear it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to. Everybody watching at home, you have to remember, Ellis and I are teachers, and so we hear plenty of brain rot every single day at work. So it kind of just rubbed off on us a little bit.
We just have to share it. We have to share the joy and the knowledge with the folks at home right now. Hey, speaking of sharing, we got 10 laps left, pretty much, for you to get in your referrals, get in your buddies to this race. If you're trying to win this Todd Gilliland diecast, Josh Gillen and Connor Lyons neck and neck, you can still win. Send as many of your friends over. Share the link. Get them in here. Get them into the chat. Tell them to type that you sent them, and we'll give you a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the night is going to win that free NASCAR diecast. We'll send it to you absolutely free of charge. As we watch Joshua Gillen on screen, not the image that the Gillen fans at home would be wanting to see right now in that red, white, and blue paint scheme, but it's the image they're getting past here. Gillen's had a good run, not going to lie. He's only going 2 laps down here, and that's been the story for much of the field. That's how strong the 84 has been. He's got an 11th place run going, so a good night going for Josh Gillen. Nothing to be ashamed of here to ride on board him making that pass for the lead. Riding on board the rear deck lid right now, and Jacob Cochran continues to try to set sail on the field. I will say that lead is stabilized just a little bit back to Chris Medford. Medford not really giving up as much right now as he had been earlier.
Yeah, we got a battle right now for the 9th spot right here, Ellis. This is the 71 right here of Evan Janik. Evan Janik back on the apron again, using that very unique line through turns 1 and 2. Unfortunately, not going to get the drive up off of turn 2 because he was down there, and so that's going to enable the 33 to get back around him. I think that probably speaks to that 71 car being a little bit tight right now, possibly in the center of the corner. He's going to use the lap car as a pick right here. That's Alan Zukov, and he's going to complete the pass, moving up into the 9th spot.
Yeah, Evan Janik fighting from behind. If you missed it earlier, about 40 laps ago, Janik was sent off the front bumper of Chris Medford. Incidental. It seemed very unintentional, but it had the same result. Nonetheless, Janik slid back to 14th position. He's been fighting his way back all night long and doing a heck of a job right now, just trying to get march back towards the top 5. Speaking of top 5, battle going on for the 4th position, Derek Jewett and Adam Holston. This is a nice little scrum going on down through turns 1 and 2, going on to the backstretch here. Holston, that purple and white number 8, trying to get by Derek Jewett. And Chris, Derek Jewett not going to get the win tonight unless something miraculous happens, like a caution and a interesting exchange of events. But still a top 4 run going for Jewett, putting together a pretty complete race. Right now, Chris Medford on pit road, Chris. Interesting call here. Yeah. Not sure what's going on with that 46. If we're getting into territory of maybe not being able to make it on fuel.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. You know, if they couldn't make it on fuel, I would just splash and go here. It looks like he's taking 4 tires. Not sure. Not sure why.
I'm gonna pop
he's
in. Give Bill for a second. I'll go see if I can get some information real quick.
okay. Absolutely, right here is that's Chris Medford leaving pit road right there. We'll try to figure out what's going on right there, but that's going to change the podium spots right here. Jacob Cochran in the lead still with a comfortable lead over Andrew Schob. Derek Jewett in the 3rd spot right there. So this battle right here for 3rd, a little bit more contested now with the final step of the podium right here on the line with Holston closing up on the rear bumper of Derek Jewett.
All right, Chris, I do have inside information, and the answer is they're not running short on fuel. Not sure what drew the 46 down pit road, so we thought we might be having a fuel storyline brew, but it was not to be. There's another reason for Chris Medford going on pit road. I'm not sure if you had any theories that I missed while I was gone, but he's going to be a lap down, so I'm not sure it would help to pit and a caution come out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The only thing that comes to mind for me maybe is the fact that he's not running for points, and I wonder if maybe he looks back on the incident with Evan Janik with some regret. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's just pure speculation on my part right there. So, but yeah, he's fallen back now to the 11th spot, the first car 1 lap down, and that's going to vault Andrew Schob and Derek Jewett up into the 2nd and 3rd spot.
Oh, Schob in the 29 of Thornton. Contact in turns 3. It sends Thornton careening into the wall. I think we're good to go. No caution is going to come out. There might be some hurt feelings on there, but that 69 came up on that left rear quarter panel of the 29 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we've seen things get pretty close between these lead lap cars and that 29 of Joshua Thornton. I saw Jacob Cochran kind of struggle to get around him earlier right here. Gonna see what happened right here going down into turn 3. And yeah, it looked like, not a lot of room given right there. And those two come together. And unfortunately for the 29, he's going to tag the wall. But I think he's going to be okay to finish this thing out.
Going to be okay to finish it out. Just about 3 laps left here. Jacob Cochran working lap traffic, trying to go after a win. Chris Medford on fresh tires. You can see how quickly he's come up. Definitely the view he wanted, but not the same context, as he's just trying to get back on the lead lap by Jacob Cochran after really fighting him for a win just less than 30 laps ago. But Chris Medford not going to be the win tonight for whatever reason comes down pit road, but Jacob Cochran maintains a 7-second lead over the rest of the field. Cochran's sitting pretty right now, but there's plenty of time. Things could happen. Just about 1 straightaway left for a caution to come out. If we get the white flag, they will race back to the line. So he's got to get that white flag. Jacob Cochran doing everything he can to get a win tonight here at Milwaukee. He's had the best car over the course of the long run. He's made it look pretty easy at points tonight, but Jacob Cochran, just his 9th race of the season, is going for win number 2 after a win at Rockingham just a few weeks ago. Win number 3, I should say. He won Talladega as well. So he has won at a variety of different tracks. If he can get through one more corner here, Jacob Cochran will win at Milwaukee. He wiggles it through 3 and 4, and the Milwaukee Power Tools car is going to win in Milwaukee. Race number 15 of the Fall Creek Plumbing Series goes to Jacob Cochran. Second is going to be Andrew Schob as he gets across the line. Derek Jewett's going to finish it out with a complete race. He's going to finish 3rd as he gets ready to cross the line here. 3rd car across. Great race tonight.
Yeah, battle for 5th right here coming to the line. It's going to be Alex Pollock beating Douglas Wasaki to the line right there for the 5th spot.
Good finish for Pollock in that number 92. Several cars. Janik is going to cross the line. He's going to have to settle for an 8th place finish tonight in that number 71. Not the finish that he had wanted, but compared to what it had been 50 laps ago, 71 has nothing to hang his head about there in that final third of the race. So going to take a moment, see if we can't reset. We're going to get our top 3 finishers into the interview booth. It's going to be Jewett, Schob, and Cochran. We'll hear from them just in a moment. In the meantime, we do have a winner to announce for our diecast giveaway. It was a game we played tonight called Send Your Friends. And Josh Gillen was no slouch tonight. We had a lot of Josh Gillen fans in the chat. He's going to take home that Todd Gilliland diecast. If you were sent by Josh or you were sent by anybody else, thank you so much for joining us tonight. There's plenty more great action. We'll talk about that coming up shortly, but let's see if we can't pull in Derek Jewett in the broadcast booth. Give us just a moment. Hey, Derek Jewett, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, finish it out. Third place on the heels of a heartbreaking second place at Rockingham a couple of weeks ago. This is going to be a little bit easier of a pill to swallow, I would imagine. Great third place finish. Walk us through kind of how you progressed up through the field over the course of the night and if you had any close calls there.
Yeah, I mean, we started 11th and just kind of figured out the track and the car. This was a lot harder than in the truck series last night, but just kept mowing people down and just figuring out how to get around people. It seemed like people were trying to diamond it, and I was just wrapping the corner better than everybody else. And when they diamonded it, they couldn't get down to make that final cut because I was sticking nose in. So yeah, it feels good. Feels good to finally be back here and get an interview with you guys.
Hey, man, well, we're glad to hear from you. It's a good-looking paint scheme you've been running the past several races. Before we let you go celebrate that third place finish, you got any shout-outs for the folks watching at home?
Yeah, first, we had 4 5-star racing guys in the top 5, so good job to the 5-star racing crew. And then CHGO, Milwaukee is the new Chicago. If anybody follows the Chicago Cubs. But yeah, CHGO, awesome partner, Non-Typical Designs, Joshua Everett's Beast Unleash, and Admin Box. And then obviously thank you to you guys for broadcasting, and hopefully we can interview you guys next week. We got a giveaway going on. We got a charity event going on with K9 for Warriors, special paint scheme. So if you donate $5, every $5 will get you an extra entry. But we'll have more about that next week. So come out, donate for a great cause. Helps veterans and dogs getting rescued from being euthanized and going to a person in need with PTSD. So and then I have my dog on the car, so that's even more cool.
Man, we're looking forward to seeing that next week. And hey, go celebrate that top 3 and lock in for next week.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, absolutely. Derek Jewett, everybody. Now we're going to hear from Andrew Shobe, second place finisher. Before we do that, if you're watching right now and you haven't hit that subscribe button right underneath the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything, but it's going to help you get more live racing action 3 times a week. Hit that subscribe button before we talk to Andrew, our second place finisher.
Andrew Shobe, our second place finisher tonight. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's going well, man. We were watching you all night long tonight. We knew that you had speed, Andrew, in qualifying because you qualified on the outside pole, but unfortunately you had to start at the rear of the field. Made a nice, steady little march up through there. You know, all the attention was on Jacob Cochran, our race winner, for charging up through there, but you also followed suit right there. Talk to us about your night right there. Was it as easy as it looked for you?
Yeah, I mean, we stuck to the game plan. Game plan was to save the tires early, kind of slowly work my way up, keep the car clean. And we kind of got up to the top and were able to battle with those guys in the front. Got lucky with a couple pit stops, and second place, I'll take it, man.
And we saw you right there at the very end, right there, a close call in lap traffic, but you were definitely able to navigate around all the other vehicles safely right there. What was your strategy tonight? Did you prefer sort of like the diamond line, or did you prefer to wrap the bottom like a few other guys like Derek Jewett was doing?
You know, I was trying the diamond line to save, and then I try and wrap the bottom when I'm pushing to try and gain on somebody. But honestly, there wasn't much of a difference on this track. It's all about just hitting that exit right, and you're good.
Well, Andrew, we got a week off next week for Memorial Day, but the week after that, we'll be hitting the high banks of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Are we going to see you out there at Charlotte, and how do you feel about your chances there if we do see you?
Yeah, I'll be there. Not my best track, but hey, we'll make it work. Just a little bit of practice, and we'll get there.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing you out there on the track at Charlotte here in a couple weeks' time. Before we let you go celebrate this great second place finish and enjoy your off week next week, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to shout out 5-Star Racing, 4 out of the top 5. Let's go. I want to shout out a couple of my buddies that are watching, Andrew and Jake. Shout out to those guys too for the support. And yeah, shout out to you guys for what you do. It's a lot of fun.
We appreciate it, bud, and we appreciate you bringing all the action tonight for us to enjoy. That's Andrew Shobe, our second place finisher tonight. Great run tonight, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that was Andrew. Now we're going to hear from our winner, Jacob Cochran. Hey, Jacob Cochran, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, well, congratulations. Win number 3, first one after Rockingham. That was a hard-fought one, and tonight was hard-fought, but it was you had a lot more dominant of a car tonight. We saw you fast on the long run. We even talked to you about that later on at the end of stage 2, and you got it done tonight. Walk us through kind of the final restart and kind of the final battles that you had to do to get by the Janik machine and Chris Medford.
Yeah, I just, I knew I had to get by them quick once the tires, got some wear on them. It was just hard to get around, and especially like I said, at the end of stage 2. I mean, Chris was doing a very good job of running, a line that I just could not get under him. Um, you know, once I got out in front and I had the clean air, I knew that we had a good shot of, especially if it stayed green. On the longer run, I thought that we were a little bit faster than them. So I hate that they both had bad luck at the end. I was hoping that it was going to finish out like that and see what would happen, but I'm just thankful we got the win.
Man, it was touch and go for a minute. You went from having really good long run speed to being just as good on the short run. Very different track from Talladega, but showcase some of your short track prowess following up that victory at Rockingham. We're headed to Charlotte here in a couple weeks. We got an off week next week. You plan on being at Charlotte? I know you've run a somewhat limited schedule, but with this momentum, feels like you got to be there.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much fully committed in it now. I started the year a little late, and that's why my starts is not as much as I wanted. But we're looking forward to Charlotte. I'll be there. So Charlotte's a little iffy track for me. I mean, I'm pretty good on the 1.5 miles, but definitely gonna get some practice in and hopefully be good to go.
Man, we'll be looking forward to seeing you out there. Before we let you go, any shout outs to the folks watching at home?
Yeah, shout out to you guys in the SRM booth. You guys do a great job. Fall Creek for sponsoring the series, and Mystic for putting the league on. Shout out to Aaron, SB Racing. Aaron and David both, they do a good job of helping us. Special shout out to Robbie. He's our kind of our race control in our team, I guess you could say. He helps us with strategy and helps us with managing tires and managing long run speed. So a lot of credit goes to him on that, because he just keeps us in our groove. And kind of, if we start getting off track, he puts us back on track. So it's definitely a lot of help in there. And then I couldn't help but hear that I think you guys were told it was my birthday, but I wanted to just shout out that today is actually Steven's birthday. He's just trying to, he's trying to, put the name on me, but no, it's Steven's birthday. So happy birthday to him.
Awesome. Steve Gill, happy birthday. Jacob Cochran, we'll still pretend it's your birthday, along with Gino Volante, as well as Johnny Rapp here, our producer in the booth. So congrats, man. 3rd win of the season. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at Charlotte, where you'll have some good speed. We might talk to you again. Have a great night and enjoy your off week.
Yeah, man, you too. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So lots to talk about here. Great race. Limited cautions, only had 1 caution for cause over the course of the race, Chris. That was quite the effort these drivers have made. This is in a series that has gotten progressively better and better and better and more exciting in the past 3 weeks. The past 3 races we've run, Gateway, Rockingham, Sonoma, they've all been awesome. And tonight we follow that up with another great race, lots of beating and banging, but clean racing for the most part. Let's walk through these final finishing positions for these drivers that started the race over the course of the evening. Looking through here, the top 10, We had Jacob Cochran. He's our winner. Shobe Jewett. We talked to those three guys. Adam Holston brings it home with a respectable 4th place finish tonight, padding his 2nd place position in the points. Alex Pollock, one of the best season finishes of his season in that 92. He had top 10 speed all night long. And Chris Douglas Wasaki continuing to showcase that short track skill that he's shown us all season long in that number 11 car. Great finish. And newcomer Andy Berry, and I believe only a 2nd race. Soldiers at home for a 7th place finish in that number 25 red and gold machine doing battle. We saw him all night long with Brad Nelson, and it looks like he got the better end of that fight. Evan Janet, Chris, story of the race, one of the fastest cars, top 3 on speed most of the evening. Took a shot from the front bumper of Chris Medford late in the race, sent him back to 14th position. But, man, he did a yeoman's work and clawed himself back up to the 8th position. 9th was Medford. 10th was Matthew Kopp. And, Chris, I'll let you round out 11th through 20th.
Yeah, you were mentioning that battle between Brad T. Nelson and Andy Berry. Nelson's going to bring it home in the 11th spot. Joshua Gillen bringing a lot of people here into the chat. Very popular guy here in the chat tonight in the Slingshot broadcast. He's going to bring it home in 12th. Zach White going to finish in the 13th spot. Caleb Hunt in the 14th position. We saw that contact between Joshua Thornton and Andrew Shobe at the end of the race right here. Thornton's going to bring it home in 15th. Alan Zukov finishing in the 16th position. Gino Volante on his birthday is going to bring it home in the 17th spot. David Moyer in 18th. Reggie Kyman, the Mystery Machine, going to finish 19th. And another birthday boy, Stephen Gill, going to round out the top 20.
And then 21st, Brett Wren had some trouble halfway through the race. That heart rate monitor got a workout, but didn't finish the race. Finishes in the 21st position. Chris, we got an off week headed into next week for Memorial Day, but that doesn't mean that we aren't going to have some racing on Slingshot Racing Media. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we've got a Shark Monkey Golf ARCA race for the Spark Series. No, we're off on Monday as well.
We're off on Monday. We're off all week next week.
Oh, man, we are off all next week. I'm disappointed now. I got to look at my schedule, I guess, a little bit better, but I was looking forward to having some racing action. Well, I guess we're off all next week, but it doesn't mean you can't go back and watch some of our archived races on YouTube. Also, we will be coming back full throttle the week after. 3 races. We've got a couple of Spark Series races on Monday and Wednesday, and then we've got Mystic Racing League and this Fall Creek Plumbing Series on Thursdays. All those crews doing a great job. Yeoman's work we've done to get 3 nights of racing going on SRM. And shout out to Johnny Rapp, who's been our producer tonight. Johnny, you did a heck of a job. Seamless. It's like you've done it before.
Yeah, you know, I will say it's not my birthday, but I appreciate the compliments. You know, hey, we will.
Man, you did a good
now.
job.
Yeah,
and they can hear you even more frequently on Monday nights, not next week, Memorial Day, but following that, broadcasting that Shark Monkey Golf ARCA series that runs on Mondays around short tracks around the country. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notified of when we go live. Every time we go live, we got some other track guide tutorials. If you're running any of the official iRacing series, check those out in some of those playlists. Got a lot going on, and they'll only continue to grow here on Slingshot Racing Media. We appreciate everyone tuning in tonight, all the folks in the chat. It's always a lively time in the chat. We will hope you enjoy your Memorial Day. You're a racing fan, it's one of the best racing days of the year, if not the best. We got Monaco Grand Prix Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. We got the Indy 500, I think, around noon Eastern time. And then we've got the Coca-Cola 600 that evening. Chris, are you planning on locking into the couch all day?
Absolutely, Ellis. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I just hope the weather cooperates all across the world. And we're able to see some great racing all day. Ellis, like I said, if you're a race fan, it's like Christmas. There's no better day than it, and I can't wait for all the action this coming Sunday.
Johnny, what about you? Are we locking down to the couch on Sunday?
Yeah, you know, it's more than just Sunday, right? You know, because yeah, I mean, you know, all the NASCAR series are at Charlotte. They have 4 races at just Charlotte. You got the
Truck Series,
Monaco. Yeah,
ARCA.
It's a whole weekend of great racing action, and yeah, I hope everybody can tune in and enjoy it, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. And don't forget, it's Memorial Day weekend too, so
Absolutely.
remember the folks that you know, didn't make it back, but
Absolutely. We do here at Slingshot Racing Media appreciate all the service members who have made it back and not made it back, and enjoy your Memorial Days. Remember the reason for Memorial Day besides the grilling and the racing and the importance behind that. For Chris Smith, for Ellis Thomas, and for Johnny Rapp in the Slingshot Racing booth, enjoy the off week. We will see you in a couple weeks from Charlotte. Have a great week, everyone. Talk to you later.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.